I'm thinking I need to take, exactly your advice right here. And that next step for me to really grow would be, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head is to do that.
In this Jumpstart session from one of our live public coaching calls, I work with someone who thinks they have a procrastination problem, especially when it comes to video editing. But as we begin to explore where that procrastination shows up, something deeper starts to become clear, and it shifts how he sees his path moving forward.
What brought me to this call? Yeah. And I think for me, a lot of it is I tend to procrastinate a lot. And
where are you I'm gonna stop you a couple times here and there, just probing. So when you say you procrastinate a lot, where are you procrastinating? When does that procrastination show?
Editing 100%.
Interesting for you.
Yep. For me, is I love the business growth, and for me, I spend a lot of the time, analyzing and looking at, what I can do to improve, and what are my clients saying about everything, and but then I love being out there, and I love filming, and I love being involved in that aspect of it. But when it comes to
relationships and connecting and doing all that, and the meetings with people, do you enjoy that part of it?
I do. I enjoy that a lot. Okay. And then, so all that stuff is the stuff in my business that runs smooth. Then when it comes to the editing process, I have a very hard time giving that control out to somebody else and letting them just run with it and letting them do it.
And have you gotten help, and you just were
Yes. No. I have some awesome people that help, but at the same time, I don't know. I guess that's,
see, this is a blessing and curse to some people. What I've seen is sometimes the ability to know how to do everything is actually a curse, because I'm assuming you know how to edit, and you know how to use the computer, you know how to use the software and all those things to put the edit together yourself, correct?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of one buddy of mine right now, Ryan, and the way he runs his business is that he loves to be involved in the editing process. But if there's 30 hours of time to be spent editing, first of all, he spends 0 on the computer doing anything. He doesn't even know how to use Final Cut or Adobe Premiere or any of that. So he can't do it. It's not like he, by choice, could be like, well, you know what, I could just get this done faster. I'll just do it myself or anything. He came in when he was able to automatically get support, so he just never learned it, and then he trusted them. But if there's 30 hours of editing, he'll spend maybe 2 or 3 hours with the editor in the process of getting that project done, but the editor's spending the 27, and he's only involved for the 2 or 3. Now with me, I've gotten to a point with when I have projects, I've got the people I trust. I get it. I'm happy with it. I send it out. I have like a 10 or 20 minute conversation. Like, we have similarities in the highlights and things we would do for events. So I've got guys who are kind of trained up on that. They do it. They get it. We send it out. Like, I don't really care about being involved.
To this day, I still enjoy the editing process.
But it's where you procrastinate.
But it's where I procrastinate the most.
I've been asking a lot of people, and they'll be like, well, on certain projects, is there certain projects you like to edit versus others?
I love, that is a good point. Yeah, I love like highlights features. I love that kind of high energy type stuff. So when
the educational kind of very systematic edits that aren't super creative in your eyes probably don't get you as jazzed up to sit down and edit them.
You just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, that was something that I ran into. My most motivation was doing a same day edit, but when I was doing all sorts of different edits, and we were doing these kind of training video for a factory, with forklifts or something, I just couldn't get excited about it. Like, I just couldn't sit down and do it. It was very difficult. Now, here's the thing that I've brought up. When I was originally, my major skill set within video was getting B-roll and putting a quick sizzle together and showing it at the event. That was my sweet spot. But if I had to come back and even do that same type of edit, I would procrastinate. But trying to do testimonials or interviews and having potentially hours of sound bites or sound to listen to, and then to whittle that down into a 2-minute video was literally mind-numbing. I would procrastinate, but I also just didn't ever feel really good at it. Like, I just wasn't good at that. But I was able to double the project prices we were getting when I added that in. But I was able to find talented people to edit those projects. And so if I can take a $3,000 project, make it $6,000, it doesn't cost me $3,000 more to get it edited though. So I'm able to double the rate because the value with the interviews and testimonials was more valuable and more powerful to the client than just a music video edit with just clips and music put together. But so it's fascinating because you're letting some of it go, but not others. Like, are you still editing a bunch or?
Yeah, I do edit quite a bit.
Okay. That's
And
probably,
I'd say probably 70% of everything that goes through, I edit.
70% that goes through, you edit. How much of that what percentage do you think you procrastinate?
Probably most. Well, and I guess I shouldn't say I procrastinate.
Okay.
Well, I do procrastinate, but I think a lot of it too is I get calls on other projects, so then I'll keep the cycle flowing. I'll keep more projects coming in, so then all of a sudden my editing log just gets longer.
Oh, and then oh my God, and then
then I'm like
looking, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so daunting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where I'm like, oh, let's bring in the troops. Let's bring in the editors. Let's bring in the other guys. And then I got to get them in. But then I end up waiting till those deadlines. So then I don't have enough time to get the team, on the same page to get it done right. So now I'm like, oh, I just have to do this myself anyways, because I know what the project is.
Partly you're doing this because you don't have the talent, or you feel like you want to keep more money as a byproduct of doing the edits yourself?
It's probably a mixture of both.
Yeah. Interesting. So what's the hold up there where you wouldn't just overall outsource editing on every project for the most part?
I think one of the biggest holdups, and I kind of mentioned it, is that, well,
you have good people. That's what you did say that. There's like a contradiction happening there.
There's a contradiction, I guess, happening there where I think it's just giving people, you actually hit it, I think, earlier, where I have a lot of, like, I think it's probably the ebbs and the flows, where just the cash flow of the business and cash.
Yeah, when you feel the cash is good, you're like, yeah, let's outsource these things.
Like,
and when the cash isn't good, you'll hold on to it.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of one of the bottlenecks is for me, I guess doing a little bit, I do need to hand that out. I think you're spot on. I do need to relinquish that and let other people jump on board and just make the jump and know that things will happen.
That ability to kind of leverage more, I'm sure the network that you've built up through all these years, that there's a lot more opportunity there, but all of us have tendencies to be afraid to ask. We're hoping, how much do you feel that you sit back a little bit more passively versus actively seeking? Like, you're just kind of waiting.
Is 100% me.
Okay.
I say here, I just I'm very, very, very passive instead of going out. And
that's when there's more the explosive growth, because the more you can stay in the spot that lights you up and less in areas that slow you down. And it's like this kind of cherry picking what you will and won't procrastinate and when. If you can stay in that zone, then that's where you'll have the growth, because otherwise you're getting bogged down in activity. Editing, unfortunately, editing doesn't bring in business, right, as a collective whole. So 30 hours sitting behind a computer, editing a project really does nothing in now the final product, of course, it's kind of important, but it is, as a whole, that activity is doing nothing to get more business, to get more opportunities, to regrow a relationship with somebody. And so the time we're spending either thinking about, for me too, there's like an ebb and flow of just like not even doing anything. I'm just doing busy work. I start, that's when I scroll through Facebook, because it's like, well, I really should be doing this and I really should be doing this, but instead I'll do neither. So I'm moving and I'm busy, but I'm like a rocking chair. I'm just moving back and forth, but I'm not making progress and I'm not moving anywhere. And so, there's that aspect to really analyze and look at a daily basis, the activities and what you're doing and what lights you up. That's not just capable and competent, because in 12 years, like I said earlier, you've gotten a lot of things that you're going to be good at,
right,
decent at, that you're able to do. But they are areas you might procrastinate, you might not really love to do. If you didn't have to do it, you wouldn't do it at all. And so that's the thing. So where are you sitting with everything right now? What are your thoughts? Where are the kind of resistance? Or
I'm thinking I need to take exactly your advice right here, and that next step for me to really grow would be finding the more, or relinquishing the editing side of things. I think would really help me grow. and get into that. So I think you're hitting the nail right on the head as to do that.
It's going to free up a lot of time. I mean, depending on how many projects that you're doing in a year and how many things need edited. I mean,
because I mean, I'll be honest, like, well, one of my biggest things too that I've noticed lately is what people love, and even your same day edits is like, that was one of the big things that makes them stand out is it's done and it's over. And I'm like, oh man, my clients here, they're like, oh, I'm going to get this back in like a month or whatever. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that about me. And that's where I've kind of gotten it too.
There's a lot of things that we know inherently that we should do. But again, our wiring doesn't lean us to do that. That's why we keep not doing it. Now I believe that we can willpower through certain things. Anything we can use willpower, push through and do it. But how long, if you're truly having to do willpower, will you sustain doing something that just doesn't get you excited? You'd prefer to not have to do it. We can do it for seasons, but we can't do it for long term, like multiple seasons over and over and over again. And so it's not a one size fits all, because what you need to do at 12 years into your business and all the things you've accomplished and the assets you have are different at your age, at your situation, and everything than somebody who's just started yesterday and decided to do video and is picking up the camera for the first time. Because again, they don't have that. They can't look back and be like, well, this is what worked. This is what didn't work. This is what I love. I keep repeating this over and over again. So what's going to be different this time? Because that's a big thing. I'm sure there's things that some of this we're talking about I don't know this already, or I haven't tried it. So we got to figure out, well, why has it not stuck? And how do we make it stick? And that's why I'm big on the kind of behavior and personality, because I can't just tell you to do a certain something, because some of it'll be willpower. Like I go, hey, Nathan, just call up 30 people today. As soon as we get off here, just call them up. Some people, your opposite, might be like, all right, hell yes. And they freaking go and start grabbing the phone and calling people. And it's just like, it's natural for them, but maybe they weren't doing it. So there's might be things that you're not doing, but it's not even natural for you to do. So you might do it once or twice, and then you're going to be like, yeah, that sucked. I'm not doing that again. And so we got to find the areas that you'll keep doing, because if you can find that momentum, the train going down the track, it's hard to get it going, but when it's going, it's hard to stop. But if we keep stopping and starting, we don't get that momentum. You want to be spending more and more time in the areas that you love and not feeling like this weight on your shoulders of unsurmountable deadlines and projects and things that are going on that are a huge weight. Because that's the other element I want to throw in here. It's hard to go out and get more when there's already so much. Like I always, when people know that getting more means more pain, not more pleasure, they won't typically go out and do the activity that's needed, because at the end of that activity is more things that don't bring you any joy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I agree that's kind of, we talked about a minute ago, like kind of right where things are at too, is I don't go out there and push more because I have enough coming in, and I guess I need to learn to say no to a lot of that.
Yeah. There'll always be time where there's things we might have to do that we don't want to do. There might be clients that we thought were awesome that turn into nightmares. All that stuff's going to happen, but we don't want to live in those places the majority of the time. I think that's what stifles growth, because if we end up spending more time in areas where we're just not aligned, then that's where we stifle the growth and we plateau, because it's like, why take on any more? Because you're just going to end up with a whole bunch more things that aren't exciting. So it's just kind of recalibrating and going through your inventory of projects, clients, situations, what you do, what you don't, and recalibrating that whole machine so that you're spending more and more time in the area that you love. Because when you're doing that, you'll infect people. People will be that much more excited to work with you because you're doing your best work, versus projects where you're maybe going through the motions because it's like, well, it pays decent. I'm doing it. I got to get it done. Not really fueled by this. And so we calibrate that. Then it's game over. You can be more kind of unstoppable and making things happen versus the resistance that might be going on. So
that's awesome. Nail on the head right there.
If you'd like the opportunity to be coached like this, click the link in the description to attend a future Jumpstart session, or click here to watch the next breakthrough happen.